up, everyone? What is up? How's it going? Happy Tuesday. We're not going to be streaming tomorrow, so I told y'all I would try to stream today. And today is here. Sorry I'm a little late. The Windows box that runs my OBS for streams decided to have another little hissy fit. This time, the NVIDIA drivers on it were going a little wonky. Like, it was saying, hey, the graphics API is not available. So I ended up having to completely do a fresh reinstall with the NVIDIA 595 drivers. I was using 591 or 591 dot whatever, you know, all that, how it is. So, yeah. That's why I was a little bit late to stream today, because I was trying to figure that shit out. So, installed it, rebooted the machine, and then voila! So, once again, the Windows machine is the one having all the issues when it comes to my 2PC stream setup. The only issues I usually have with Linux are usually down to stream specific stuff, because I want to get the audio piped to the headphones and to the computer over there, which is why we do that reset pipewire command very often with the little script I have. But that's more of a streamer thing. I mean, let's be honest, if I were streaming on a Mac or a Windows or you know, any, well, those are really the only options. I mean, you could use FreeBSD, but I doubt we'd want to go down that route. But if you were using Windows or Mac, you'd still have to do audio routing. So this isn't a, well, you know, Linux is over. No, this is the, I'd still have to do that on Windows and Mac on a 2PC setup. So it's funny how everyone says Linux is so complicated and they have a lot of issues with it, when I have nothing but issues with the Windows PC that controls my streams. Yeah. Anyway. You have any experience with API? I've done some API stuff, mostly just through Python and stuff. The main ones that I've really done are like CrowdStrike's API. They have a really extensive API, to the point I'd rather deal with their API than a lot of their GUI stuff. So I'm working right now on getting the computer set up for my ultimate Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind replay. I have a massive list I've been working on for the past, you know, few days since I said I wanted to do this, so I can give you all a little peek of what's going on here. Alright, so we have this build list over here. Here, I'll, you know, move it so the plebes over on TikTok can see what the people on the superior platforms, you know, normally could see all wide. But, yeah, so this is what we're looking at for the beginner base, and, some of the patches that we're doing. So tier 1, tier 2, and then tier 3 mods that we're trying to do. And then, once we get this baseline set of everything, we're gonna go to the big boy set. And that's gonna be, you know, repopulated Morrowind, creatures, beautiful cities of Morrowind, normal maps for everything, Macom, yeah, and a bunch of different immersion mods to, get that a little bit more insane. If I go on a website that uses an API to get match data, official national website, and from what see in DevTools, I can see all the data. Yeah, that'll happen. So we've had issues in the past where there were some state governments in the United States that they were hiding the data on the web UI, but it was actually sending all the full data, if that's what I understand what you're talking about. Okay, so we need to... Okay, so we downloaded that. We need to grab the next mods. Alright, so... let's see. Manual download. Kind of sucks that you don't have Vortex Mod Manager for Linux yet. I mean, technically you can, but yeah. When will you run for president? When I've lost enough brain cells and have become geriatric enough to be able to qualify, apparently, in the United States, as well as a few zeros are added to my bank account. I don't think I'd ever want to run for president, because that shit seems like it would suck. Maybe at most I'd go for, like, representative or senator. But I know I'm gonna get censured. Walks in, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, you're cool, fuck you, I'm out! Is that API free to use? Usually they're free to use. Unless it's, like, blocked off and, you know, you're gonna have to use some kind of a, it depends on how they have it set up, but usually government APIs are free and open. You can't find any info. No, it's just like a live report of a match, but I only need like 5 things from data. Public API. Can't find any documentation or info on it. Well, that's what happens with a lot of the government stuff, is there's not really a lot of documentation for the things. You kind of have to tinker around and figure that out. Chief Prez 2028. Nah, let's vote Afro Man in first. By the way, has anyone actually listened to Afro Man's songs? Like, some of them are stuck in my head. What the hell? Why did Lemon Pound Cake get caught by the censors from the mods? I don't know how that was caught by the moderator. It's Lemon Pound Cake. I've seen Afro Man, and yes, I have too on my MP3 player. But, like, have you listened to the latest ones? Like, what is it? Randy Walker is a son of a bitch. Ooh. There's, like, he came out with some bangers a couple of weeks before the trial came out. Pound Cake got banned. Yeah, that was funny. Does ransomware watch what I do all the time? Ransomware is basically just software that encrypts your entire computer and holds it ransom. So it's not necessarily watching what you do, it's just encrypting everything that you do. In terms of watching, that's more of like, you know, stalkerware, spyware, things like that. Saribo arrived last night. Me and my girlfriend watched 3 DVDs back to back. Luckily, I was the one facing the TV. What the hell did my bot come up with? See, this is why I want to make my own AI bot to have, like, stupid, like, things like that. What if I, like, eventually come out with a bot? What if I make several bots in my chat that just have, like, different personalities, like George Carlin-esque, just roasting people in chat and coming up with, like, random shit. It's becoming sentient. The bar is low. Well, I mean, based on the video we saw last night of how illiteracy is becoming more and more of a thing, the bar's in hell! Okay, so I'm downloading my little mods that I need for all of the, Elder Scrolls 3, because I feel like I'm deciding if I want to continue with Expedition 33, or if we're going to do Elder Scrolls 3, but I think I'm going to do that after Expedition 33, because we still need to, finish that up. And Morrowind is gonna take us a minute. It's gonna take us a while. So, I have my big-ass list, and just so you're aware, I am going to be making a... I'm gonna publish all this on GitHub So that anyone that wants to redo this exact same experience that I'm planning to do, you are more than welcome to do so. Let's see. Harvest lights. Harvest lights. Harvest lights. MWSE. Let me grow when containers are harvested with graphic herbalism. Okay. Oh wait, so we need harvest lights, open Morrowind. God, I have to drag down all these different things. I think it was a TikTok lawsuit. One guy had Mr. PoE, Mr. Power over Ethernet name tag. Wait, what? Did you see the AI video of Harry Pothead? No, I haven't seen it. But I totally want to. Okay, so we need to put the proper download for harvest lights there. Okay, so there's a few files I've had to track down already. So I'll show you what I'm doing right now. Got weapon sheathing. Trying to get that. We need open Morrowind. So yeah, we're trying to get this set up for Elder Scrolls 3, getting that replayed. But I want to do it in like a really pretty, modernized way. Okay, Project Atlas, Performance Booster, install after mop. Let's grab the optional met. Okay. And there we go. We are on Pop OS. It's in general. Okay. Give me 1 second. Got Morrowind enhanced textures here. Because the problem is, I'm playing on a 1440p monitor, so it's going to look like a potato. Wait, don't I already have Morrowind enhanced textures? I could have sworn I had that. Yeah, I did. Okay. Meshes, okay. Yeah, so I already had that. Okay, so... yeah, we can cancel that. That's what I thought. Familiar Faces by Caleb. I got a whole list I've been setting up. How'd you live on TikTok in Linux? I just have an OBS key. But yeah, it wasn't that difficult. You just have to go around getting a key. Bro, why does this song live rent-free in my head sometimes? Which song? I don't know. I've been also going through the, whatchamacallit, Afroman discography. I wish that I could go through and programmatically download all these files, but Nexus Mod Manager makes it a little bit difficult to do that. they also make it difficult for you to just go around downloading a whole bunch of shiz. Annoying. Alright. That was a weird one. Because I got her. Because I got her. Because I got her. La da 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 da. I was gonna clean my room, but then I got her. That one. And pretty much all of Afro Man's songs are about weed. Back when I was a stoner in high school and everything, that was the song I used to wake up to and then bake. Can't do that shit anymore. Not against, you know, that stuff, but the issue is, man, looking back, I was so unproductive. Okay, my tea's steeped long enough. We can get this. Trying a different tea today. Alright. That over there. So this one today is Life's a Beach, hibiscus, lemon peel, orange peel, rose hips, and passion flower. Where'd you get that t-shirt, DEF CON? I got this one at DEF CON 32. So, no, wait, 31. Wait, no, 32. Yes, it was DEF CON 32 I got this shirt at. 31 was my first one. This was not that. 32 was the whole Engage thing. 33 was Access. Yeah, and then this year, I forget what their theme is going to be. College, good resource. Are you saying that, or are you asking that? Okay, the next mod I gotta download, Nord's Shut Your Windows. Another immersion mod for Morrowind. Yeah, that Morrowind playthrough is gonna be really fun when we get around to doing that, because I'm gonna be doing things that I wish I could have done back in the day with my Radeon 9600 Pro, or I think even the Radeon X1800 XT was probably the closest I could for a lot of that. All right. Asking. I haven't used Pwn.College, so I have no opinions, good nor bad. Okay, now we got cantons on the global map. I can show you what I'm grabbing over here. So we gotta grab... It's interesting how this game is 20 years, like, close to 25 years old now. And there's, like, mods that have, like, only come out within the past couple of years. Fashion wind scarves. Wait, hold up. Hold up. That's not the right one. Damn it. Cantons on the global map. There we go. All right. Yeah, I'm not gonna need the fashion wind. I don't know why I would need scarves in Morrowind. Dynamic distant buildings. I'm gonna have to look that one up. I'm going off lists that I've been looking up for the past few days. Distant buildings. Open Morrowind. Okay, so we have this mod over here, which was 2022. There are better Lua replacements for it now. Well, we can at least use that for now. Thoughts on the Axios supply chain attack? So I was actually talking to Yitz about that before. So I was talking about this before with Yitz, and Yitz was telling me how he was harping on people to get away from dependencies for a long time, because apparently a lot of what it did, from my understanding, is what was built into Node and everything, and proves that people have too much of a dependency on libraries instead of understanding what they need to do. Dynamic distant buildings. But yeah, it's a good example of you need to actually check what's going on with your shiz. Okay, so we need cantons. And then, what was the other one I grabbed? Oh, we replaced harvest lights. Okay. So, that's good. Alright, we've got distant seafloor. You want to install OpenClaw, it has NPM. Well, if you're gonna install OpenClaw, do it on an isolated VLAN on a separate machine that doesn't have access to your primary accounts. I eventually am probably gonna do it, but I'm gonna have it extremely locked down. But I've been hesitant about it because of the issues that are there. Am I still safe on installing my stuff to avert my virtual machine? Yeah. I mean, it helps sandbox things. Distant C4. Okay, so we've got... dynamic distant buildings. Oh, so we already got dynamic distant buildings. Yeah, we got a lot of mods to download here. I still have my big boy list. This is just the basic one. Okay, so we've got OAB data, which I need for some other stuff. Gonna install with all the sensitive files just to feel something. I mean, VirtualBox is okay. There are better virtual machines, like at least Hyper-V on Windows, but I mean, it's something. repopulated Morrowind. Okay. And I think we've got Tamriel data already, so we should be good there. And we'll get into the videos in a little second here. Really? Repopulated creatures. If you're telling me use Hyper-V, then bet. Yeah, it's a little bit different to use, but it's a Type 2 hypervisor, so it'll be a little bit faster than VirtualBox. A lot of people notice, like, it gets stuttery and stuff like that on VirtualBox. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's more of an entry-level thing. Alright, repopulated creatures. Now I need to grab all these files over here. Except the cantons. And we'll put these into my mods folder. There we go. Alright, so there's a mod list I gotta add context to. And then we have my big boy sheet, which will have even more mods for later. Someone else told me VMware, are they good? It's the same issue as VirtualBox. They're a Type 2, a Type 1 hypervisor, so if you're on Windows, the honest suggestion I would have is Hyper-V. If you are on Linux, just use libvirt with Virt Manager and QEMU. And then on Mac, well, Mac has a new thing that happened over the past few years, but they kind of just stink. Okay, anyway. So, it depends on your specs. It's not really the specs, because every computer can support a Type 2 hypervisor within the past, like, 10 or 15 years. The issue is more so about, and I presume they're talking about player versus ESXi, because they don't do home labbing licenses anymore. All these AI startups and companies, how did they even create their AI solutions products? Simple. They have AI write it. Why do you think so many of these AI companies are getting compromised? Because a lot of them have been vibe coding their bullshit, and then they deluded themselves into believing that they don't need to hire cybersecurity personnel. So when they actually do have an issue, they realize how much they need cybersecurity. And there's the fallacy of, well, we are able to, automate our security, and we managed to get SOC 2 compliance and, ISO 27001, so we're secure. And I've come to the argument as of the past year or so that compliancy is only a point-in-time reference. It doesn't guarantee that you're secure. It means you have some protocols in place, but one moron clicking the wrong button, doing the wrong config can break everything. So I wouldn't really buy the argument of just because you have SOC 2 or ISO 27001 that you are secure. That's, in my opinion, baseline. What about decent companies when they say they created an AI product? How does the one create AI product? Okay, here's how you do it. You make a product, then you just slap AI into the name. The reality is a lot of products that bill themselves as AI really are just algorithmic products that they're just slapping AI in for the marketing buzzword. That's really the reality of it. In fact, I would take it so far as to say the AI that people are using right now, large language models, isn't even AI. It's a buzzword they turned into being called AI, but it's not true AI. It's a large language model. It is glorified autocomplete with some really fancy logic behind it. Because everyone's deluded themselves into believing these LLMs are AI. But like I said, they're just an algorithm to predict what the next word is based on a series of weights. Am I oversimplifying it a little bit? Perhaps. But the point being, yes, LLMs are a useful piece of technology, but they've been overhyped quite a bit. I'll be completely honest. Okay, playing devil's advocate. Would creating an admin account for Intune not make it easy to identify? No. I mean, yes and no. But being able to identify an account and being able to access it are two different things. So, an admin Intune account you can make without a Microsoft license, like a 365 license. You could just have it tied in to the admin panel. But ideally what you want to do is tie that in with an identity and access management system. So that way, when there is suspicious activity on an admin account, you can automatically log it down, have it flagged in SOC, and look into it. These are accounts that should be controlled through a PAM, a Privileged Access Manager. You like where I was at before, when we needed to do admin things, I would have to log into Delinea, and then I would have to check out the admin account. And it would only allow access for 8 hours at most. After 8 hours, it would automatically check itself back in. And the password was randomized, so every time you checked it out, that password would change. So even if you were to, preemptively check it back in, click the button to check in, and then check it out again, new password. I have a question. What is AI poisoning? I haven't really done too much with AI poisoning. I had some friends that were doing that. If I remember, it's basically where you're poisoning the data that it actually has. Or is being trained on. Let me make sure I'm correct on that. Yeah. Basically where they're injecting corrupted, misleading data or such into an AI model's training set to manipulate its behavior. So, yeah. You can introduce all sorts of errors and backdoors and such that way. I haven't done it. I've got a few friends that have done it. Hell, a couple of my buddies have popped the Chipotle AI bot and turned it into a little ChatGPT session. One of them managed to give themselves some BOGO burritos. Does AGI exist? In science fiction. Artificial general intelligence is the hype that everyone's trying to achieve, but all research right now is showing that we might be hitting the plateau of what LLMs are capable of Because originally the thought was, well, if we throw more resources at it, we can do more with it. But we're starting to get to the point of diminishing returns, where they're spending more money to make these larger and larger LLMs, but they're not becoming as great as they once were. Like the jump between ChatGPT 3 and 3.5 was huge. 3.5 to 4 was huge. 5 felt like... You get the point of what I'm saying? Yeah, pointing is pretty much you put a filter over your art and it could not copy it. He'll think it's something else. Yeah, okay. It makes mistakes unless you actually know what you're talking about. Yeah, well, AI all does that. That's why I keep telling people, like... And here's the thing, I will always, I will stand on this hill. The people that are going around saying AI is going to replace everything and all that are usually the fucking morons that don't even work in the damn field. It's the same problem you had with the crypto bros and blockchain. Blockchain is going to revolutionize everything, man! Cryptocurrency is going to change the world! Look... I used to think cryptocurrency was going to change the world before crypto bros were a thing, but not in the way of I was going to get rich. It was more in the way of, this is a transparent ledger technology. We could help the unbankable become banked. Where we could actually have more access to finances for people. Where we could possibly see us overturning the current state of the economy that we have with fractional reserve banking and elitists basically being able to... throw out whatever kind of investment they want with the expectation of there's no risk for them because the government will bail them out. That was primarily the reason why Satoshi Nakamoto, if you read his papers back in the day, released Bitcoin. Even though we don't know exactly who it is, he had some pretty good writings. But the point being that I was trying to make is... You had a lot of these crypto bros that have never actually worked in technology talking about the greatness of of cryptocurrency without actually understanding fundamentally how it worked. Then you got people making tons of money on stupid meme coins. Like Dogecoin was the original meme coin. And Dogecoin never was intended to be a serious thing. It was literally the first joke currency that never took itself seriously. The fact that it even made to 1 penny blew my mind. So it won't replace anyone? I didn't say that. What I'm saying is that people have to temper their expectations. The analogy I give a lot of people is, back in the day, before I was born and many of you were born, automation was already a thing that was happening. The ATM, the automated teller machine, they were so worried that ATMs were going to remove, well, they weren't worried, they were just saying, the ATM is going to remove all bank teller jobs ever. They said that decades ago. Yet you walk into a bank and you still find bank tellers. The advantage of an ATM is, yes, it's made it more convenient that I can just go up and get cash, or I can have 24/7 access to get cash if I need to be, but bank tellers still exist. The same argument could be said about the VCR. The VCR, they heralded as the apocalypse of ads because people can record programming and then they won't have to actually watch the ads anymore. But here we are, 30, 40 years later, and people are still getting ads on YouTube. So, yeah. It makes AI use less of the RAM stick. Oh, you're talking about the Google algorithm that they published to improve the efficiency of things, where allegedly it's going to be taking or using 6 times or 1/6 the amount of memory. And a lot of people are heralding it as prices are finally going to come down and all that, and I'm going to say, hold your horses, we're going to have to wait for that. Hold on. There was an article I found earlier. I forgot to put it in. Let me see if I can find it again. Here we are. I think this is it. God damn it. I hate how Reddit removes articles right when I need to. Okay, here we are. This should be close enough. So OpenAI has effed up the entire hardware market as we know. And look at this. OpenAI locked up 40% of global RAM with no obligation to buy any of it. This is what drove this entire Ramageddon session. So Sam Altman basically said, we would like the opportunity to buy your RAM and have first pick, and that's the reason why everything blew up. And now, OpenAI doesn't have enough money to potentially keep themselves solvent through 2027. They've already had to back out of data center deals. Yeah. 5 months after the sole signing, the demand signal of those agreements created an unraveling in March 2026. Oracle and OpenAI scrapped plans to expand their flagship Stargate data center in Abilene, Texas. We talked about that a few streams ago. After the two companies failed to reach agreement on financing terms, and OpenAI revised its capacity requirements multiple times. The Abilene expansion would have grown the site from 1.2 gigawatts to 2 gigawatts of capacity. The same build-out, the memory agreements were designed to serve. So, yeah, OpenAI has been pulling out on a lot of things, and as we know, they closed Sora because they're now actually realizing they have to compete. OpenAI really squandered a lead that they could have held on to, because while they were playing around in the sandbox saying, look at me, like Stuart from Mad TV, Claude was actually positioning themselves in a proper situation, because Anthropic has actually been wisely investing in their infrastructure and everything, and while Claude is seen as more expensive, that's because they've been more realistic about their costs and their growth and everything like that. They closed Sora? Yeah, they closed it a few days ago. What do you think of TurboQuant? Oh yeah, we talked about that. It's one of the things that I need to actually bring up here in the review on stream stuff. Give me a second. I know it was in there somewhere. Oh yeah, here we go. Beep. A Google AI breakthrough is pressuring memory chip stocks from Samsung to Micron. So this has to do with TurboQuant. Google's latest research, which claims to make AI models more efficient, is putting pressure on memory stocks, with investors concerned the breakthrough could see a slowdown in chip demand. On Thursday, shares of the world's two biggest memory chip makers, SK Hynix and Samsung, fell 6% and nearly 5% respectively in South Korea. Japanese flash memory company Kioxia, I always mess up how to pronounce the name, dropped nearly 6%. These moves followed falls in SanDisk and Micron. In the U.S. on Wednesday, both companies were lower in U.S. pre-market on trade on Thursday. So Alphabet's Google on Tuesday unveiled TurboQuant, new compression method that it says could reduce the amount of memory required to run large language models by 6 times. The technique focuses on reducing the key value cache, which stores the past calculations of an AI model so it doesn't have to run them again. It could be interesting. I want to actually see how this will play out in LLMs overall, because I haven't had the ability to get hands-on with it. But if we can avoid higher usage of memory and expand what we currently have, then we will lessen the need for a lot of the demanding hardware that is currently constrained. So, while I drink my tea, I can say in the Martha Stewart voice, it's a good thing. What's up, Hans? How's it going, Kara? But yeah, that's on the to-do thing. And I mean, people are calling it the, what type of tea? This is Life's a Beach from Emerald Coast Alternatives. It's hibiscus, lemon peel, orange peel, rose hips, and passion flower. So Google, as they said, and people are calling it the internet, well, the internet's calling it Pied Piper. So if you haven't seen the show Silicon Valley, basically, they went around with a revolutionary algorithm that was around compression. Well, it's kind of doing the same thing. I mean, not really, but Google's, well, yeah, it is actually. Google's research new Turbo Quant is also about extreme compression without quality loss, but applied to a core bottleneck in AI systems, hence the comparisons. So, yeah, it's really interesting how this old show came back. If successfully implemented in the real world, TurboQuant could make AI cheaper to run by reducing its runtime working memory, known as the KV cache, by at least 6 times. So that would mean that even my NVIDIA 5060 Ti could potentially have a lot more capability than it currently has right now in my LLM machines. So eventually when I do get NVIDIA DGX Sparks, those will be even more performant. But yeah. Still, it's worth noting that TurboQuant hasn't been yet been deployed broadly. It's still a lab breakthrough at this time, so we're probably going to be a few months out for it to actually be seen in labs and stuff like that. All right, now let's find where the hell I was last stream. We already did the Costco thing, we did the Iran stuff, we did the thorium reactors. I think we already did that. Yeah, we did the rockets, we did the thermal battery, we did the national ID thing, we did the... Okay, here... We've already talked a lot about the homebrew router thing, I guess. We've kind of like beat this with a dead horse. Nothing against, you know, Jeff Geerling. Love him. But I think we can move on to the next thing. Because we've already beat that dead horse. I mean, we're still catching up on old articles that... Because I was just so far behind. New digital hall passes track bathroom breaks, gather data in New York City schools. What the hell? Whatever happened to just giving them the hall pass of the very inconveniently sized item so that that way they were walking around with a hall pass? I don't like this idea of digitizing everything. This seems like it'd be worrisome. New digital hall passes allow teachers to monitor, to more closely monitor how long a student is spending in the bathroom and who else has requested a bathroom break. Who the fuck cares? Let them go to the bathroom. Oh, geez, you were in the bathroom for 10 minutes. Yeah, I was taking a shit. About age verification stuff with Linux. We've already beat that with the dead horse as well. We talked about it. It's bad, but it's happening. I could spend 15 minutes. I mean, look, man, I can do that as well. I've had my days where I've been sitting on the toilet 3 or 4 times a day. Look, when I'm eating a lot of fruits, that's what happens. Need you to stop them, please. Me? What do what do you want me to do? Let me make this very clear when it comes to the stage verification stuff. There is no Superman. Nobody's going to come and save you. You got to learn to save yourself. Instead of just being, you know, the activist behind the keyboard that a lot of people do, call your congressperson, call your senator. Voice your dissent. Let them know that this is a bad idea. And write a letter. I mean, actually write a letter. On pen and paper. Or at the very least, print the physical letter out. Mail that in with a stamp to your congress people. I have done that regularly for many different things, to my representative, my senators, and,
Your dad just wants to know what time you want to be picked up to.
Jesus. 1 second. Alright, anyway. Do they punish people for staying too long in the bathroom over there? I mean, you can try, but if you walk in after I've gone to the bathroom, you may as well have just walked in with a bunch of mustard gas. You're a Superman. No, you gotta learn to go contact your congress people, go contact your senators and all of that. Get involved. Learn about your politicians at your local, state, county, and federal level. Everyone focuses mostly just on your presidential election, but if you don't know who your representative and your senators are, you're failing. I don't mean to be an asshole, but well, actually I do. It is your civic duty to understand who your politicians are so that you can go voice your dissent, your agreement or disagreement with any policy out there. And don't get involved in politics every 4 years. A lot of people don't realize this. There's elections every single year. They may just be at the local level. They may just be some state ones, but you do need to get involved. I'm not going to be the person to tell you to vote this specific way or party beyond concerning yourself with your digital rights and your digital freedoms, your privacy rights, and, you know, all that stuff. Right to repair, everything like that. But you need to get involved. You need to get involved. And don't talk yourself out of it. I at least bring myself to the polls at minimum every 2 years. Glad they just mailed me a ballot. Although I hear Trump is going to issue an executive order. Trump needs to, you know, shut the hell up and realize executive orders can't do all the things he thinks they can. There's going to be like 2 dudes in it in every company that has their ID tied to their machines. Pretty much. Trump needs to... Well, I'm ready to pop some champagne. You do what you gotta do, boo. Alright. We're gonna watch this video over here. Let me get my audio piped over to the machine. This is Dropbox discriminated against Americans and the Department of Justice is secretly enabling them. From Dr. Josh C. Simmons. So this should be interesting. Let me make sure the audio is working for all of you. Alright, I gotta do the whole stupid NVIDIA wake-up thing. Really? Okay, hold on. It's because I just reset it. Is it always, is it 3? Yeah, it's 3.
Front, left, front, right.
Okay, cool. Now, here we go.
Really good news, everyone. Mommy Harmeet sent me a love letter. Let's see what it says. So we got another one for a discrimination charge I filed against Dropbox. This comes from the U.S. Department of Justice, Civil Rights Division. Let's see what she wrote me. So I filed this complaint back in June. Just got the letter, registered mail yesterday. Dude shows up to the house. Looking official, hey, I got a letter for Josh Simmons from the Department of Justice. Oh, hope it's not bad news. Ended up being bad news. March 3rd, 2026, the Immigrant and Employee Rights section. Which employee rights? Am I right? Accepted as complete your discrimination charge against Dropbox, Inc., alleging a violation of the anti-discrimination provision of the Immigration and Nationality Act, Section 8 U.S.C. subsection 1324B. Based on the investigation, IER is dismissing your charge and will not file a complaint with the Office of Chief Administration Hearing Officer. So, again, ignored. Dropbox is an American company, if you're unfamiliar, American company, and they employ a lot of H-1Bs. And Harmeet and her cabal can't be bothered to look into this. So again, that's not saying that Dropbox was right or wrong. That's them saying some undersecretary, let's see who it is, Varda Hussein again. So this is Varda Hussein again. This is acting deputy special counsel. So some undersecretary, low-level employee that took a look at this and said,
Yeah, I haven't used Dropbox in forever either. It's been a decade.
Government paycheck and not really doing anything. Debate me as much as you want. I do not like Elon Musk. I do not like Doge, what they did. They just caved out departments. That being said, Doge was directionally correct. You have these bureaucrats that are sitting on U.S. taxpayer dollars that are extremely bloated, inefficient, not doing anything. That, again, this isn't statement of who's right, who's wrong, was there a crime committed, was there a violation committed. This is them taking a casual look at this from their cozy offices in DC and just saying, we're actually just not going to investigate any further, which is very confusing to me because I thought that the Civil Rights Division was for the civil rights of U.S. citizens. So you'd think when somebody alleges discrimination based on citizenship status, that would be something you'd want to look into.
Not in the Trump administration. Discrimination is par for the course, apparently.
And they didn't even pull the basic statistics, because I can tell you, I did pull the basic statistics. I sent them with my original complaint. I'll give you the complaint text, and then we'll get into some of the numbers. And finally, I'll tell you what you can do about this if you find yourself in the same situation, which you might be if you're in tech. I know so many really qualified people that are out of work right now that are applying to these companies that are staffed to the gills with H-1B visa holders that are constantly importing more H-1B visa holders that just can't be bothered to hire an American citizen. That's why we have so many American tech workers out of work. It's not AI. As the complaint says.
Yeah, and here's one thing that, a lot of people should understand. I'm not against H-1B. H-1B is supposed to be when you are trying to find qualified individuals and there are none available. So you're importing knowledge that is generally not available. But in many cases, a lot of the people who have H-1Bs currently could have the job done by someone who is local. Just think about that. And why do they get H-1B people very often? Well, let's put it this way. You as a regular citizen can tell them to F off and you can go get a new job if you know they treat you bad. But when you are an H-1B holder, you can't go searching for another job, so you tend to bend over backwards to be able to keep the job that you have, even if they drive you to do 60, 80, or even 100-hour work weeks. Yes, that is a thing. And basically, no, you'll do whatever to keep your position to stay in the country. It is essentially, I can't think of a better way to put it, but it's more or less indentured servitude. Your employer employs a lot of H-1B visa holders. Yeah, that's not too unheard of. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of people that are qualified to do a lot of the jobs in tech, but they're wanting to hire people from outside the country. And I'm not opposed to people coming to this country and working. Let me make that very clear. First generation Moroccan American here. My family is immigrants, okay? But I believe everyone should be given a fair shake, and when there's preferential treatment, to hire someone who you can just give lower pay and basically treat more or less like a slave, that's not good. I heard that a lot of skilled workers are being deported and moving out of the USA. That's a whole other issue, too, that's happening, yes. Part of that is due to, you know, the fear of the whole H-1B crisis, because there was that time, I think, I don't know if this is still a thing, but Trump did hike up the H-1B costs. Like, insanely. He's like, well, if you want an H-1B, it should be $100,000 or something like that. There is an issue there. I'm not going to deny that. But there's two separate issues going on here as well, is what I'm saying.
Received an email reject for Dropbox's Senior Director Software Engineering role despite meeting or exceeding the qualifications for the role. Bear in mind, at that time, I was a Director of Engineering at American Express, a much larger company with a much larger remit, with much larger consequences for doing right or wrong. I never received an interview. Given the fact that Dropbox historically hires H-1B applicants for these types of roles, I believe I was discriminated against for being a U.S. citizen. Okay, so you might think, you know, Dr. J, you're just sour grapes, just like the last love letter you received from Harmeet. She's obsessed with you. She cannot stop sending you letters, and you're a little bit obsessed. No. Let me clear this up in the numbers, because we're a fact-based channel, and I want to get into the numbers. Dropbox only has about 2,100 employees. Those are the latest numbers I'm able to pull from public sources. Despite being an American company, it's remote first, but it's an American company. Their headquarters is in San Francisco. We have their names, we have their addresses. If you're in San Francisco, you can go pay them a visit. It's 1800 Owens Street, right in San Francisco. So again, they employ about 2,100, 2,200 employees globally, but that doesn't tell you the full story. The full story is that nearly half of these employees don't live in the United States for this American company. That's about 800 people spread across Europe, Asia Pacific, and other regions. That leaves about 1,200 employees actually based in the US working for Dropbox, which is an American company. Okay, so it's a small company, it's a small company, but let's get into the H-1B figures. I want to take you through this year by year, and then I'll give you a total.
Is there like a public listing for H-1B, I guess?
How you can start to leverage this.
At least the numbers.
You're out of work and you're getting denied by roles at companies that are just absolutely staffed up with H-1B visa labor, or if you have buddies that are in this situation. I know people have been messaging me the past couple of weeks, even like 3 or 4 people I know that are out of work, they've worked at these high gain, high intensity companies. One guy has been at Meta for a decent amount of time. Like, these are cracked tech workers, and it's not that they can't find a job, it's that they can't get an interview. So something is seriously wrong. The Department of Justice doesn't care. And for whatever reason, this Varda Hussein is acting as the gatekeeper. Harmeet Dillon's little errand person to just deny these requests before they even look into them. They're not even looking into these. So let's go through the H-1B breakdown for Dropbox. I have the past 5 years of data here. 2020, 165.
Okay.
2021, 203 H-1B visas sponsored.
Okay.
170 in 2022, then 107 in 2023. 2024 brought 106, and then a slight bump for 2025 up again to 131. So that's 6 fiscal years covered, 2020 through 2025. If you total all those up, that means they have sponsored 882 H-1B workers. Again, those are workers that are...
Wait, so those are new permits, visas every single year, not... Oh, wow. Watching a bunch of tech different tech videos that my community sends to me.
U.S. employees. Dropbox in the U.S. has somewhere between 1,200 and 1,400 people. So if we take the middle and we say 1,300, that's a little over half. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good when you have a company that's about 1,000 people and about half of those people are potentially H-1B employees that you've sponsored. That's in the numbers. All of this data is public. Okay, so now the payoff. You're in this situation, you're out of work as a tech employee, you have great experience on your resume, and you can't even get an interview at a lot of these places. What are you supposed to do? Well, I'll tell you a couple of stages. First, you want to get numbers on the company you're applying to. When you get that rejection, save everything. Save the job posting, save the rejection email. I have all of my rejection emails. I keep track of these in a database. You don't have to be that organized. Just star it in Gmail or whatever, so you have it and it doesn't get deleted. Then when you get the rejection email, you file. And you file with the Department of Justice. And I know that they're ignoring these cases right now, but if we can get a critical mass of hundreds or thousands of cases that they've just ignored, it's going to accomplish 2 things. One, it's going to give us some media and political buzz around this. We can say, look, Varda Hussein is just like batting these out of the way, like they're not even looking into them. Harmeet Dillon is doing, just a horrible job. I follow her on Twitter, and it just seems like all she does is just tweet. She tweets, but she doesn't actually deliver any results, which is exactly what everyone in our government is doing right now, especially the current administration. And we can start
the image on the side, really.
Effort. Okay, we are in an era where the current administration ran on the platform of Make America Great Again, putting America first. And whether you like the guy or not, I certainly do not. I've been quite public about that. I do like the concept of making America great, of putting America first. And this guy's done just about the worst job of that possible that you could do. Damn the political party he's associated with. Doesn't even matter at this point. But that does not look good once that starts getting media cycles that, hey, this guy said that he was going to make America great again. He was going to put America first. And he can't even get qualified Americans, jobs. They're just out of work. They can't get.
To be fair, he can't even let his people, what is it? Didn't some of his supporters get a whole battery factory shut down because the Koreans came in and then they called immigration, and then these Koreans that were there legally got detained and F-withed to the point it became an international incident? They were, as I recall, they were there to help build the factory and then train the workers on manufacturing of batteries.
Jobs, and we're importing foreign labor, actually. So we're most definitely not putting Americans first. So that's one thing. The other thing you can do is I'm going to be releasing it soon. Sign up for the newsletter below in the description. I'm going to be releasing this soon. I'm in the final stages of development. I have brought together all...
Okay, we're going to move on to the next video. Whoops, another 30 under 30 facing prison. How many of these people that have been in the Forbes 30 under 30 have actually ended up in prison? Okay, this is from Cold Fusion.
There's a joke that's been circulating online recently. Congratulations to the other winners. I'll see you in prison. The joke is aimed at the Forbes 30 under 30 list, reason being that it's become sort of a curse. Several former Forbes honorees have been charged with major financial crimes. Think about Sam Bankman-Fried and Caroline Ellison at FTX, Charlie Javis at Frank, and even Martin Scarelli before them. Some of these stories I've covered in detail on this channel.
Okay.
2023 was getting
I
so
forgot about Martin Shkreli.
to address it. They released a piece titled Hall of Shame. It featured past winners who ended up facing fraud allegations. And now there's another name to add to that list. Guche Guven, the 26-year-old CEO of fintech startup Calder, was charged with securities fraud, wire fraud, visa fraud, and aggravated identity theft.
Was this the like Shopify of blockchain thing? That one? Am I being mistaken here?
Calder looked like a fast-moving fintech company with brand partnerships and healthy revenue. It carried the right credentials, but all was not as it seems. What started as an investigation into fraud and inflated figures spiraled into aggravated identity theft, a federal crime. Now it's facing up to 52 years in prison if convicted.
Oh, damn.
This case is ongoing, and the allegations remain unproven in court. So, what exactly happened at Calder? What did investors think they were funding? And why does this particular badge keep appearing in stories like this?
You are watching Cold Fusion TV.
If you had come across Calder in 2024, nothing about it would have looked unusual. It was a New York-based fintech startup founded in 2022. At its core, it was a software service looking to change the way loyalty programs worked for brands. You see, for large brands, loyalty programs are a big expense. Airlines offer miles, retailers offer points, cashback platforms promise rewards. The point of these programs is more about marketing than revenue. They keep customers loyal to a brand, but the extra revenue brought in by such schemes is limited. Calder's pitch was to flip the script on its head. What if those reward programs could generate revenue instead? So this is how it would work.
Okay.
A brand could run its usual rewards program, but inside that program, customers would see offers from other companies. Think seeing travel deals while browsing for retail discounts. These third-party companies are willing to pay for consumer traffic. If a customer clicked through and has made a purchase, the company that showed the ad space inside their loyalty program would earn a commission. In practical terms, Calder acted as an infrastructure layer, a white label software system that powered the loyalty experience on the front end and connected brands to networks of affiliate partners on the back end. Okay, so brands could now get paid more for affiliate partnerships through Calder. So far, so good.
Okay.
As you'll soon see, all was not as it seemed. Though before we get to that, let's first take a look at Calder's founder and CEO. Guven is a Turkish-born entrepreneur who studied computer science at UC Berkeley. While still at Berkeley, she joined Cello, a blockchain project during the bear market in crypto. From there, she moved into Robinhood Crypto.
I actually remember that crypto very faintly, where there was like, you know, crypto abound and the cryptocurrencies were abound and people were throwing it around left, right, and center. But I faintly remember that one. That was one of the BS coins that kept coming up, but yeah.
I was at early stage team at OpenSea doing product and design, and there I have been seeing how NFTs were powerful to cross the chasm of crypto for everyday user. And every brand and every creator were trying to own and launch their community. And this was possible with blockchain-powered engagement and loyalty.
NFTs, Robinhood, and crypto do give off a certain smell. But anyway, from that clip, you could see that Guven's early work was at the intersection of crypto and brands. While she was at OpenSea, she worked on brand and creator partnerships, and she noticed that brands were looking for loyalty, membership, and direct engagement. That observation became the foundation of Calder. Calder, in her own words, was meant to be a, quote, Shopify-like, white label infrastructure for brands to launch blockchain-powered loyalty programs.
Yep, I thought that's what it was. I kind of remember that one. Okay.
Provides is a Shopify-like white labeled solution for any brand and creator to launch their loyalty or membership on blockchain.
The company had announced it had raised $10.5 million in total funding, including a $7 million seed round.
Damn.
At the time, Calder publicly referenced brands such as Godiva, Mile, Heat.io, a Swiss football club, BSC Young Boys, and a strategic partnership with the IATA, International Air Transport Association.
Okay, interesting combo.
Forbes 30 Under 30 badge. On paper, it looked like she was well on her way to the top. A technically credible founder, recognizable brand partnerships, venture backing, and industry recognition. But, according to federal investigators, this is where things start to go very wrong. Now, even if you're not trying to launch your own legitimate startup, money is of course something we all have to deal with every day. And for a lot of people, it's managing debt. Many
Yeah, you know, because it's all about, you know.
don't take debt seriously until the moment you sit down and actually do
Okay, this is a sponsor slot, isn't it?
Your balances aren't shrinking and the fees keep adding up.
What is this, like Rocket Money or something like that?
Like PDS debt. And that's because minimum payments are designed to stretch out debt for years. PDS debt has already helped hundreds of thousands of people reduce what they owe and take back control. Whether someone's struggling with credit cards, personal loans, or medical bills, PDS debt works to understand your financial situation and create a personalized plan to help you get out of debt. And the goal is simple: help you save money, pay off debt faster, and start putting more of your income back to where it belongs, in your pocket.
Okay, we're just gonna move along. God, that's a long ad section.
Story in 30 seconds. Get your free personalized assessment.
What was that, like a minute and a half?
At pdsdebt.com/coldfusion.
Nothing against the creator, it's just like...
Link in the description. That's pdsdebt.com/coldfusion.
Can you make your ads quicker?
Let's get back to the story. So Calder had raised $7 million in a seed round in April of 2024, and that round was built on a story of numbers. Calder said that the average brand on its platform had around 50,000 linked customer accounts and was generating roughly 450,000 in additional revenue through affiliate sales and partner stores. Those figures were an essential part of how the model was framed publicly. Investors were impressed, with Julius Janichowski, former SCC chairman of all people, stating, quote, "Calder's fresh approach to rewards is delivering exceptional value to both brands and their customers. The team's ability to deliver such strong results is truly impressive." End quote. During the seed round, investors flipped through a glowing pitch deck. According to reporting based on the federal indictment, one slide listed 26 brands as, quote, using Calder.
Okay.
Alongside another 53 in, quote, live freemium status. That meant dozens of companies were presented as actively on the platform or experimenting with it in real-world deployments. For fundraising purposes, this was perfect. It validated the business model and suggested that the product was already in motion. But federal prosecutors allege that the reality was very different.
Oh?
The Department of Justice, Calder CEO Guven literally kept two separate sets of financial books. One of those sets featured, quote, false and inflated.
Whenever you hear there's two books, that's immediately when you're like, okay, what's the sitch?
Numbers, end quote, and was presented to investors or potential investors to hide the, quote, true financial condition of the company, end quote. In the end, many of the paying customers in the deck, in fact, were not paying customers.
Oh!
Several were described as discounted pilot programs that never developed into commercial contracts.
Okay.
Certain companies listed had no agreement with Calder at all.
Oh no.
The indictment states that the pitch materials reported by Calder had reached approximately 1.2 million in annual reoccurring revenue by March 2024. Investigators allege that the real figure was nowhere near close. They claim that Calder's actual monthly revenue in April 2024 was under $10,000.
Holy shit. She claimed how much?
Approximately 1.2 million in annual reoccurring revenue by March.
Annual reoccurring revenue. So you are reporting less than 1/10 of what your actual numbers are. Yikes!
Those alleged misinterpretations are the basis of the securities and wire fraud charges tied to the $7 million seed round. But the investigation didn't stop there.
Oh no.
Guce Guven, who was a Turkish national, allegedly applied for an O1A visa. This is a US visa category reserved for individuals who can demonstrate extraordinary abilities in their field. It is a status designed for people who can show documented impact, recognition, and evidence that their work stands out.
Right.
Prosecutors allege that information about Calder's financial performance and customer relationships was submitted as evidence in support of the O1A visa application. The same disputed metrics shown to investors were also used to persuade immigration authorities that Calder was a high-impact, fast-growing company. In other words, the disputed
she defrauded the U.S. government as well, not just investors, but oh, damn.
claims tied to Calder were allegedly used to justify her qualification for an O-1A visa. Authorities say those representations were materially false. That's the basis for the visa fraud charge. So now she's facing visa fraud charges on top of securities and wire fraud. But that's not all. She's also being charged with aggravated identity theft. But why identity theft?
Damn, girl, you already had a hat trick. How are you gonna do what's the identity theft?
Prosecutors say that her visa application was submitted with letters of support and signed by high executives in business. Authorities allege that those signatures were added digitally by Guven herself without the executive's consent.
Oh, damn!
And that's what led to the aggravated identity theft charge. This is no
Sup, Jessica? How's it going, girl?
misrepresented its numbers. Now it's spiraled into a federal crime case. According to experts, if convicted on all counts, Guven could face up to 52 years in prison. That figure reflects the maximum, and the sentence would ultimately be decided by a judge. According to the FBI assistant,
She probably gonna get like 5 to 10.
Barnacle Jr., quote, Guven allegedly curated a facade of her business ingenuity to unlawfully reap financial and personal benefits. The FBI will continue to expose any manipulative tactics employed to advertise misleading investment
Conference planning. Oh, yeah?
stakeholders. End quote.
I got my HCH ticket, and I'm planning out some other conferences too.
The link
And
between
adults acting like children.
list and fraud cases is hard to ignore at this point. In fact, just as I was
Oh yeah, and by the way, I don't think I'll have my stuff in time for a talk like I was hoping to do. I may, if they open papers up, call for papers, but if I missed it, that's cool too, because I'll probably do some stuff next year.
finishing up this video, fraud accusations are being brought against another 30 under 30 affiliated company. More to come on that. It can be said that the Forbes 30 curse stems from
I'm still good?
All
Alright.
maximum success before age 30. The list is also the kind of achievement that carries fame and clout, a toxic
Yeah,
combination.
get me the link, and then I'll see if I can whip together a presentation. Like, you'll have to let me know what materials and everything you'll need. But, yeah, that should be fun.
For young people. That can lead to the fake it till you make it ethos, where shortcuts can become fraud. In addition, many of the members on the list come from or are funded by industries like finance and tech, which are highly susceptible to scandals such as money laundering, bribery, and Ponzi schemes. But to be fair, the sheer number of people honored on the
That little trick, Forbes 30 under 30, studied at, not going to prison, and it's like ticking back and forth.
Forbes list, hundreds annually, means that statistically, some will inevitably face legal issues. Over the years, critics have questioned how it really works and how an individual gets on the list in the first place. You'll even see claims online that placements are influenced by who you know, or you can just pay to get on the list.
People pay to put themselves on the Forbes under 30 list.
You also pay.
Forbes says that the selections are editorial and independently judged. There's no pay to play or outside influence. So all we really have would amount to online speculation at this point, but to some, it still seems fishy. Whatever you think of the online debates, the badge itself does not create fraud. It isn't the root cause. Some people earn those badges and build real companies. Some on the Forbes list have gone on to do incredible things. The fraudsters, however, seek the Forbes list out as a veneer of legitimacy, and they use those titles to hype themselves up as the real deal while they're running a scam behind the scenes.
I will never forget, wasn't that like what's-her-face's, that was what, SBF's girlfriend or something like that, and how, like, a lot of the stuff came out? That was a wild revelation about all the stuff going on.
A badge of honor. As for Godche Guven, the courts will determine the legal outcome. We'll just have to wait and see how the story shapes up. If you're an investor, it's a warning to be more careful. In announcing the charges, the US Attorney's Office warned investors to, quote, beware of fraud masquerading as entrepreneurship, end quote. That warning is aimed at more than just one founder. Early stage startups are valued on projected growth, revenue charts, Customer logos, marketing, and awards can shape perception long before the financial audits take place. In fast cycles, belief can often move ahead of verification. I'll be here to report on the next Forbes company, Delve, who's found themselves in hot water.
Oh, Delve! Oh, wasn't that the cybersecurity company that, like, a whole bunch of people have had to re-audit their things now? Oh, yeah. I think that's the one Parrot was telling me about. Yeah. We gonna have to, like, figure that one out soon. Alright, moving on. This Swedish company is 3D printing glass, and it's not science fiction? I want to say? What it's saying? I don't know.
If you think 3D printing is cool, let's hear your comments about this. Swedish company Nobula have invented lasers that 3D print actual glass.
Wait, what?
The only company in the world who can print geosilica glass directly. We invented a technology, it's called direct glass laser deposition. In our patent, it's a stabilized laser system. It's 10 times more stable than the laser people can buy.
Say what?
This enables our printing process to be smooth, controllable, and repeatable.
You know there's some pothead out there like, hey man, I can 3D print a bong.
This means it's capable of producing identical items like microlenses for telecommunications and fine needles for potential medical applications. Nobula's lasers can create shapes that are hard or impossible to make with traditional glass cutting.
Wow!
In a conventional glass part manufacturing process, they usually started with a glass cube or glass brick, and they polish it down to close to that shape, and then they do finer polishing or CNC processing or etching to get the final shape. Well, in our case, we can print from scratch. Basically meaning no glass goes
How to build browser extensions with technologies. It depends on what you're trying to do.
Journey.
That's really neat. Oh yeah, so we were talking about the Afro Man lawsuit case. We gotta watch it. We gotta talk about it. Did y'all see some of the great videos that came out of this? Like, seriously.
Afro Man just won a defamation lawsuit that will probably go down as one of the most outrageous court cases ever live streamed.
Can you tell me what fact about you that receding hairline or it refers to, please?
I'm sorry?
Damn.
Brought against him by the police, but all of the alleged defamatory posts only got more attention because of the spectacle and made the Adams County Sheriff's Department even more of a laughingstock than what it was before. Not to mention the clips of these officers on the stand being forced to repeat the rude names they were called over and over again makes it so much more funny.
Best trial. Oh my god, the clips I saw were so funny. This is one of those like prime examples of like police not understanding, hey, you were the problem. And here's the funny thing. Okay, they broke into Afro Man's house, tried to, get him on kidnapping and a bunch of BS stuff that turned out to not be true. They ran away with their tail tucked between their legs. He then made some videos doing the typical Afro Man thing. Will you help me fix my door? And lemon pound cake. Those were the two popular ones that came out of it. Doing a little bit of fun, being his usual self, and of course making a few dollars off of it because he has to repair things. And after they damaged his property, cut his cameras, stuff like that, they then try to sue him in a defamation lawsuit. And that is the thing that made it international news. Like, I remember when the original story happened, I was like, oh, wow, Afro Man, I haven't thought about him in a while. And it was like, okay, yeah, and then it was like a blurb on TV, 5 minutes, and then gone. But then the defamation trial happened, and then, they were everywhere. This is one of those prime examples of, the police should have just understood they were in the wrong. And, yeah.
It kind of feels like a comedy sketch at this point.
I wouldn't trust him with being alone in my house.
So
I find that pretty insulting.
That statement is what you're suing on.
Well, no. I told you this is one of many.
Well, and that's why we're trying to find.
You keep trying to make it singular. I'm telling you it's not singular.
Okay. receding hairline.
Yep.
And the other is tits.
Witness protection now.
Lisa, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
The fact that he got his music played in court and, like, they basically gave him free publicity. Like, if you look at Afro Man, go pulling him up on the YouTube channel, you'll see, like, before this trial, it was like, okay, you know, he's getting 20, 30, 50,000 views of videos, something like that. It's, like, still, you know, pretty good, but, you know, not what original Afro Man, you know, when he was, you know, a wild hit. And then they put this up, and the funny thing is, even in the court videos, they still left the call to actions in his social media to, like, you know, follow me on Instagram and all that.
That hurts you like that.
And they're playing his music, and they have to listen to it in court.
Might not be a name you've heard in a while, but I'm sure, like most people, you've been seeing posts about the defamation lawsuit everywhere last week. It's like every third reel is him celebrating.
And I love the fact that he came out in, like, a super American outfit.
The mean names that hurt his feelings. I mean, this entire case is one of the dumbest and most petty cases I've seen in my entire life. But
and you're a police officer. Words hurt you. Man, those words hurt me.
Wow, was it entertaining? Because even though this trial has been coming for years,
why does the warrant say narcotics and kidnapping? I make my money rapping. Why does the warrant say narcotics for know why it is narcotics, but why kidnapping?
Definitely slipped under the radar until the clips of the courtroom live stream started circulating on social media. And if you've seen any of these clips, you would probably agree.
If the prosecution even tried to get a gag order and it got denied, or they were just too stupid to try. So apparently they did, like, he dug into them. Afro Man dug into them on the latest tracks. We'll have to go and listen to them in a sec. Like, he was ripping them a new one. Actually, you know what? I can't really listen to them because, copyright. But, you need to go to his channel. Like, there is, here, I'll just pull it up so you can see some of the highlights, because there were, like, some great ones here. It was really epic. Okay, so, hold up. We have... Afro Man. Randy Walters is a son of a bitch. The Bataram hymn of the police whistleblower. Those were two great ones. The original one that set it off was Will You Help Me Repair My Door and Lemon Pound Cake. Like, but yeah. I love how you pull it up and it's like the top songs there. But like he had like entire songs here that were, you know, Brylan Newland is a flag, talking about how apparently he got caught with some PDF files. So yeah, he released, you know, quite a few videos, and then like you see like 3 years ago, and then you suddenly see like 2 weeks, this was even before the trial happened. But yeah, you do need to listen to that one. That was a great one. That got stuck in my head for like 3 days.
Fact, they never should have came to my house in the first place. Fact, if they hadn't came to my house, they wouldn't have put themselves on the video camera and in my music career. All of this is their fault, and they have the audacity to sue me. These people and you are the predators and the victim at the same time.
And the only witness
damn, that's a bar.
Was one of the deputy's ex-wives, who only added insult to injury when the prosecution tried to cross-examine her.
You never sought a protective order against your ex-husband, did you?
Yes, I did when we divorced. The divorce, yes. I had a restraining order.
Oh, damn!
Yes, I did.
Oh, damn!
Of the posts that were coming out after 2022 about the sheriff's deputies and calling them thieves and that sort of thing, did you ever see any or hear any of the songs?
Some of my students referred to it when they would say, I saw your husband in the video, and I would say, yeah, that was him.
I am still trying to understand why they sued him back for him making diss tracks on them. The problem with defamation is it needs to not be true. See, Afro Man, legally known as Joseph Edgar Foreman, has been quite the character for his whole career. And if you don't know who he is, you've probably heard his hit song. Because I Got High is arguably the most known song from him, and it's featured in iconic movies like Disturbia. And not to mention, it still gets quoted in pop culture a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
And it was also even nominated for a Grammy, which feels sort of...
This examination of the X was epic. Oh, yeah.
Because, like I said, it was insanely popular. But that being said, Afro Man has numerous hits filled with a whole bunch of inappropriate language that is obviously exaggerated, which is kind of what made it so popular.
Yeah, I remember his Christmas album. That was great. I don't like Christmas music because just didn't grow up with it. But I will listen to Afro Man's Christmas album.
Wikipedia.
Oh yeah, I forgot Afro Man is banging the ex-officer's ex-wife. What was it? Randy Walters is a son of a bitch. That's why I fucked his wife and got filthy rich. I think that's how it went.
Very first song was a diss track about a school bully. So even though Afro Man takes shots in his music, the person on the receiving end usually deserves it, even if only a little bit.
She ate my ex-wife just like pizza, eating over and over thousands of times on the internet.
And it's safe to say the Adams County Sheriff's Department did not like what Afro Man was doing, even if they didn't understand the insults.
Is it true that Mr. Foreman called you a hunchback? And specifically compared you to Quasimodo?
Yes.
The Disney hero?
I'm assuming that's who it is.
Quasimodo from the Disney movie The Hunchback of Notre Dame?
I've never watched it, so I don't know.
So
Jesus, holy shit! How sheltered are you if you've never seen Quasimodo? You know, Notre Dame. The what is it? The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Defamation and sued him for nearly $4 million in damages for humiliation, ridicule, mental distress, embarrassment, and loss of reputation.
No, y'all did that to yourselves.
This was all parody and should be allowed. If they hadn't damaged his property,
It's an effing book, you cretins.
first place.
Well, yeah, but
They never should have rated me in the first place.
are you only streaming on TikTok? No. I'm streaming to 4 platforms. The links are in the bio if you wanna go to better quality streams.
That's the point,
That's my whole
isn't
thing.
it?
If they never would have showed up, there would be no songs about them. I wouldn't know who they are. Their faces would not be on.
I'm glad I wasn't in the court. I would laugh through all of it, almost all of it. Oh yeah, I can imagine like people were probably trying to clamor to get in, and they probably had to throw so many people out because they're busting up laughing. Like there's just so much shit that it's like they're staring there like all serious, and you're busting up because it's like these cops really are out of touch.
Cameras. None of this, we wouldn't be in this room right now if they hadn't raided my house and didn't press no charges, didn't even know what they was doing. This whole thing is their fault, and they're suing me for their mistake.
Not to mention, it's Afro Man. Do we really believe that everyone in the story...
Was a guy landing lemon pound cake outside the house? Damn!
45 was 100% real. And if we took at every song lyric ever written as literal, well, there would be a whole lot more people in trouble for way worse stuff than this. But this story is such a good example of the Streisand effect because honestly, I don't think that many people knew about these music videos until the trial started. I didn't.
I didn't.
Some of these music videos have gained millions of views.
Like, Randy Walters, a son of a bitch. That's a great one. Like, that came out recently. And then Will You Help Me Repair My Door? I knew that one came out because he released it after the whole, initial, police bust, when they went into his house. And I listened to it because I'm like, okay, I got to see what he's doing. And then I think it was after this and Lemon Pound Cake, they started... the whole discrimination lawsuit because they were getting just ripped. Like I heard the officer that they call Lemon Pound Cake or Officer Pound Cake got 300 lemon pound cakes shipped to him.
just in the last few days. But let's go to where all this began in 2022.
Clip of the prosecution side cracking up during someone's examination.
They received a tip from a confidential informant linking Afro Man to drugs and a kidnapping. And this is what led them to obtaining a search warrant for his home. Now, drugs, that's pretty vague. I mean, that could be...
Hold on. Trying to figure out why it keeps flashing like that. It's weird.
About in all of his songs, like Because I Got High. So I don't really know if you need a confidential informant to get that kind of information that he may or may not have some green on him. But no matter what the tip was, no charges came from it. And the way the search was executed...
Wasn't it also legal when he did that? Or maybe not.
Luckily, Afro Man and his family weren't home at the time the police stormed the property and damaged...
Would you like a slice of lemon pound cake? You can take as much as you want.
Even though they damaged the security system, he was still able to get footage of what happened. But they came fully kitted up with rifles and even riot shields because I guess they thought that they were gonna get into it. But as it turns out, they only found a few grand and a couple joints and weed pens, which again are probably the least surprising things you could ever find at Afro Man's house. But this is where it all starts to get even more interesting.
And I think it was all like misdemeanor at most, unless it just had gotten legalized, but I digress.
Because when the money was returned to Afro Man, it was apparently missing $400.
Damn!
Have chalked this up to a counting error. But that did not stop Afro Man from calling the cops crooked thieves and basically every other name under the sun.
Nobody admitted that they took your money.
Well, whatever. Go look at her admitting that the bag is short because it stayed open all weekend long or 2 weeks after Brian and Officer Cooley just left it and just mishandled it and didn't do it right.
And then he took footage from his cameras before they were cut off and put out numerous posts.
I'm not sure his state has legal or medical only or what. He's in Ohio. It's recreational. So, yeah. I can't remember exactly when it fully went into effect, but yeah. It's medical and recreational.
Videos essentially parodying and making a mockery out of the entire situation. And Afro Man says he was just
I think he was in Ohio. Let me see. Hold on. Afro Man. Yeah, it was Ohio. Specifically Adams County. Okay. Yeah, it was in Adams County, Ohio.
Rights to criticize public officials as an American, and he would go on to say that it was in his right to turn his bad times into good times and make art about his life.
Sounds like a vengeance hit then. But for what?
And because they executed a search warrant on your home, that gave you the right to post the things that we've seen this week on the internet?
Because
Is that right? Is that right, Mr. Foreman?
Yes, for tearing down my door, not paying for it, not being apologetic, me being a sport, doing something peaceful to raise the money to pay for their damages, me having the right of the freedom of speech as an American to talk to my family, friends, and fans about what...
Hitting on his ex-wife.
Yes,
who knows?
I had the right to my freedom of speech. After they left, I had the right to kick the can and to do what I had to do to repair the damage they brought to my house.
And it's safe to say the jury agreed, which I don't think any of the cops expected.
In all circumstances, the jury finds in favor of the defendant. No plaintiff verdict prevailed. So the matter will be concluded with defense verdicts.
So unanimously, the jury voted in favor of Afro.
Could just be old school racism, hard to say. Let me see. Adams County. Hold on. Because I'm not too familiar with that part of it, but let me see what's close to there. Oh, damn. Yeah, like, that is, like, right outside of Cincinnati. If I'm not mistaken. Now I'm looking up something else. They did have some history with sundown towns, but I haven't seen anything recent. Interesting. All right.
WWE style smackdown of the Adams County Sheriff's Department. Because here they were forced to rewatch all the silly music videos and parodies while on.
Ohio's racist as hell. Black guy making over $300. They're gonna bow down. Okay. Ohio sucks, but it's not completely racist. You have your pockets anywhere. Like, look. People regard New York as a pretty, liberal state. That's, fair, but, there are parts all over New York that you wouldn't want to be in as a minority. Just like there's many other places, unfortunately. But, yeah. There are people in Ohio with the white hats there, too. Yeah, well, there are people that are like that all over, unfortunately. Like I said, you have your pockets.
Public display, knowing this is being live streamed to the public and circulated even more than it was
Hey,
before.
Prisms.
On top of that, Afroman has only ramped up his ridicule online now that he's actually won the case that they brought against him. It's really just one of the wildest court cases I've seen when you see Afroman's American flag suit and then all the crazy quotes coming from it. I also love there was like some viral tweet saying that Afroman is dressed up exactly like how the Japanese refer to Americans in anime. And I feel like, yeah, it's pretty spot on.
That's pretty true.
Also, not on here, Afroman's lawyer asking a witness if she knew the song WAP.
Are you familiar with the song WAP?
I think I've heard
Sorry,
it.
no, strike that. I'm going to give you the complete song and then summarize it because I only want to say it once. Are you familiar with the song Wet?
Yes.
Wondering how the deputies are doing now. Probably pretty annoyed that they even tried to do this in the first place, but I do have to assume they were hoping for a payday and to make an example out of Afroman. But I'm honestly just kind of happy that he got justice, because cutting people's security cameras as comps is the least reassuring thing they could do. But now, with the confidence boost from his win, Afroman has allegedly announced that he'll be running for president, which I mean, at this point anything can happen.
Afroman 2028! Let's do it!
You live in some funny times, to put it lightly.
Afroman in the White House, I'm going to make it legal for you to have and your firearms at the same time.
Maybe it's more of a...
I'd vote for him too.
Running for office, but again, at this point, anything could be possible. I wasn't expecting to see Kanye West on the ballot a few years ago either. But that's the quick summary of what happened with the Afroman case. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.
Okay, so next video we have Vampire shared this. Looks like it's from Carter's PCs. Hold on. Quit bugging me about that.
Congress, if you're not going to pass a funding bill to support TSA at the airports, we're going to pull your congressional benefit.
Wait. What was this? Oh no, you had a video for Carter PCs after this. So what is this? So this is actually the woke ginger. Delta Airlines suspends Congressional Service Desk VIP treatment for Congress during TSA shutdown. Okay.
Just told Congress, if you're not going to pass a funding bill to support TSA at the airports, we're going to pull your congressional benefits with our airline.
Fair enough.
You heard that right. Delta just suspended its
Yeah, so I remember this going on, but yeah, Delta suspended their special privileges. They had to treat them like everyone else, basically, and I agree with it because, Look, if you're not going to fund the TSA and you're going to make everybody miserable, then yeah.
National Service Desk. This is a VIP treatment for these politicians to help them book travel and basically avoid the travel chaos. Right now, TSA agents are working full-time without pay, and it's creating chaos. Some lines at airports, like Atlanta, are over 4 hours long.
Good God! 4 hours long? This shit better be resolved before I go to DEF CON.
Specifically saying that TSA agents are being used like political pawns. So,
well, yeah, they don't give a shit about the common person. You're just a pawn.
Backdoor help desk. Just long lines like the rest of us. With all of that said, don't give Delta Airlines too much credit. They donated $1 million to Donald Trump's inauguration in 2025. And when it comes to the company, along with its senior leaders and other employees, they tend to give more to the Republican platform. Delta Airlines...
Alright, so now we got this video from Carter PCs that Vampire put on here.
OpenAI just announced they're not doing any more AI video generation. At all. That means no more Sora. They're even getting rid of the API. They just posted, we're saying goodbye to the Sora app. Thank you to everyone that used it and shared it. What you made on Sora really mattered.
Yeah, we talked about Sora shutting down, and I'm actually, pretty happy about that.
Did it? Now the big question is why? The Sora app came out like 6 months ago.
Why did everyone ruin the airports in the first place? What do you mean they ruin the airports? I mean, if it wasn't for 9/11, we wouldn't have had the whole TSA situation to begin with, and I make the argument that TSA is more security theater than anything, because every time they get audited, they find out they're not actually stopping a lot of the attacks, or, you know, potential threat, attack surfaces.
And Disney already invested $1 billion into it. So why get rid of it? We don't know for sure yet, but it's safe to assume it's because OpenAI is about to go public. And AI video generation is super expensive and not very profitable, especially on the enterprise end. So they're ditching the AI slop and focusing on competing with Claude.
Yeah, well, is what it is. What's this video you got here?
Engineers just cloned OpenClaw in one day and made it 99% smaller. They call it PicoClaw. It does everything OpenClaw already does, managing emails, booking meetings, connecting to Telegram, but it runs on under 10 megabytes of memory instead of over a gigabyte. That means it can run on a $10 Raspberry Pi and it boots in about a second.
Can we get it working on this RISC-V board over here? I need to find a project for these guys.
And apparently an AI agent wrote 95% of the code itself.
Of course it did.
We want to stay ahead of where this is going.
Alright, let's see. List of wild theories that have been proven true.
Here's a list of things that used to be considered wild conspiracies that are now proven fact.
NSA had closets that we actually was intercepting all of our data. Yeah. There's probably some others that are going to come up.
Mass surveillance of Americans.
Hey, that was my first one!
The Tuskegee syphilis experiment.
Oh yeah, damn, that was a bad one.
Operation Northwoods.
Hold up. What was that? Operation Northwoods was a 1962 proposed U.S. Department of Defense false flag plan to stage terrorist acts, including hijackings, bombings, and ship sinkings, blaming them on Cuba to justify war. Huh. Today I learned.
The Gulf of Tonkin incident.
The Gulf of Tonkin incident? Which one was that? Some of the stuff I maybe was taught, but I forgot. Yep, Vietnam, okay. South Vietnamese commandos raided a North Vietnamese radar station on the island. Which led to the United States engaging more directly in the Vietnam War. Oh! On 2nd of August 1964, there was a clash between a destroyer of the United States Navy that was collecting signals intelligence close to North Vietnamese water and 3 North Vietnamese naval vessels. On the night of 4th August, 2 U.S. destroyers reported they were attacked by North Vietnamese vessels and that they were returning fire. Later investigation revealed that the 4th August attack did not happen. No North Vietnamese vessels had been present. Shortly after the events, the NSA, an agency of the U.S. Defense Department, deliberately skewed intelligence to create the impression that an attack had been carried out. See, aren't you glad there's social media now? Because I bet your ass they would have done this, whole kind of false flag BS kind of thing with Iran. They kept trying to, gaslight us, and Iran's gonna be attacking us! Anyway.
Sugar industry manipulating science.
Oh, sugar industry manipulating science? Oh, that's been a thing we've known about for a while. Because they were the ones that were blaming, all of us getting fat on, it's, just regular fat. It's that you're eating too much of a fatty diet, and they've actually proven while fatty foods are not necessarily good for you, it's all the damn sugar. It's all the processed foods.
Radiation experiments on civilians.
Yup. That was a thing.
Facebook emotional contagion experiment.
Oh yeah, that was a thing too.
Location tracking via smartphone or pretty much everything.
We said that for a while, but we were called crazy in cybersecurity.
The FBI surveillance of Martin Luther King Jr.
Yep. You know that they actually did a civil lawsuit, as I recall, against the FBI, basically saying that he wasn't protected enough or something like that.
Testing chemicals and biological agents on unwitting populations.
Yep, that's been a thing.
COINTELPRO.
Which one was that again? My memory is fading. Oh, yeah. Series of covert and illegal projects conducted between 1956 and 1971. Yeah, okay. Yeah, investigation aimed at surveilling, infiltrating, discrediting, and disrupting America. Okay, yeah. I couldn't remember the name of what it was, but yeah, that was definitely a thing.
Operation Popeye.
Operation Popeye? I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Toot toot. Was a military cloud seeding project carried out by the U.S. Air Force during the Vietnam War in 1967 and 72? What? Extend the monsoon season. That was the intent. Wow.
Black holes.
She is very quiet. It is a very quiet video. I can maybe boost it a little bit.
Ball lightning.
Okay.
And the government studying ESP for at least 20 years.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
And remember, all of these things were considered wild conspiracies until they weren't. Makes me wonder how this list will change in another 20 years.
Yep, that's gonna be interesting. But yeah, sorry about that. She definitely was quiet on that video. Next video. POV scheduled a tour at a pet-friendly apartment community.
Hey, excuse me, I have an appointment for today. Easy now.
What is Open Jarvis AI?
Jarvis destroys OpenClaw, so there's a brand new
open source project called Open Jarvis, and this is an on-device personal AI that learns and grows.
I think we talked about this in the chat in Discord.
So Stanford just released a free AI agent that lives on your computer, gets smarter over time, and never sends your data.
Sweden has a dinner called Popeye. They love him over there. Huh.
Jarvis, and it just dropped from Stanford Scaling Intelligence Lab. You can get access to it for free, and you can just get it set up by running this inside Claude Code or your terminal and following the instructions to get started. This is a personal AI that never stops learning and lives right on your computer.
Yeah. That's interesting. What is this? Did he just make a little instrument? Yes, he did. This is the epitome of someone who has too much time on their hands. Alright, now, back to the regular YouTube videos that we have over here. So Lawn.tv has the router ban video. We've talked about the router brand. Router ban, so I think we can skip that. Next video is... We may watch this video and then a couple of shorts before we call it a night. Hold on.
Columbus.
Sorry, I accidentally clicked it. My breakthroughs in my net zero home is missing from Undecided with Matt Farrell. So, he's been trying to make a really super energy efficient home, as I recall.
I have some regrets. A few years ago, I said...
Yo! Hold up.
I have some regrets.
He's got the German windows I like. Does it do the kipping? Like, seriously? Like, it's a weird thing to say. There were two things I really miss about German homes. So, one was the windows, because you could, like, open them like he has right there, and they would seal. And then you could also do the kip in where it would actually tilt in, so you could actually just let a breeze kind of go through. And I think it was kip in. Anyway. And the other thing that I loved also had to do with the German windows. A lot of times they had shutters. Like the metal shutters that would like lock in so like no light would come through. Oh my god, that was great. As somebody that is light sensitive when they sleep, that was a godsend. Like if I ever build my own house, there will be German windows. Yeah, like hurricane shutters, I think is kind of like what they are. Like, let me make sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like what they are. Yeah, so they'd have that, but it was a pretty common thing to see in Germany. That's like a thing I really miss, and he's got it in his house. God, it's weird. I'm old, because I'm admiring windows.
A few years ago, I set out to...
By the way, that's the only time that you'll ever hear this Linux user actually be talking proudly or happily about Windows.
Build my dream net zero energy home. I've been living here for a little over 2 years now, and so far, I've been more than satisfied.
Okay, I would never do the smartwatch opening like he did. Like, you saw that?
A little over 2 years now, and so far...
Yep, not doing that.
More than satisfied.
I still want a physical key.
I have enough solar and battery storage to balance out all of my annual energy use. A highly efficient geothermal heating and cooling system that supplies me with...
We saw the video about that.
No money. And this is the most comfortable and energy efficient home that I've ever lived in. Overall, I absolutely love this house. But even the best laid plans have issues.
He's kind of built the house more or less like I want. Except if I were to build my house, I would want a basement with a data center, or at least something like a proper data center for me to do my stuff, but yeah.
What actually works in a net zero home, or just...
You hate your fake apartment key.
There might be some lessons that you can learn from the choices I made.
I was thinking you were going to say proudly about Germany. Well, on that note, Y'all know, some of y'all may remember when I said this, but some of you are new enough to the stream. I almost got arrested in Germany for anti-Semitism. It was hilarious when the cops figured out I was Jewish and didn't know what the hell to do.
I didn't make.
Oh, I also, when I was in Germany, made the joke when I was with my dad of, gee, how long do you think it's been since Jews rode on these rails and were enjoying the train ride? Dark humor? Yes.
I'm Matt Farrell. Welcome to Undecided. This video is brought to you by Surfshark. So what specifically would I do differently? Well, we're talking about hot water storage, rainwater collection, ventilation upgrades, smart electric panels, and future-proofing decisions that I got wrong. I've put chapter markers into the description to help you jump around. But let's start with hot water. My current setup uses a water furnace geothermal system with a desuperheater that captures waste heat. That preheated water, usually around 110 to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, or 43 to 54 degrees Celsius, feeds into a Rheem heat pump water heater that finishes the job.
Interesting.
It works, but it takes up a lot of space.
Yeah, I was gonna
There's
say.
a lot more to it than that. I'm only heating water when we actually use it. There's no way to charge up my hot water during the day when my solar panels are pumping out excess power. Basically, I can't time shift my energy use to when it's cheapest or most practical. It's tied to, well, keeping the hot water hot.
The other thing I would have done instead of that is I would have made point heaters, maybe like right at the utility that, you know, like you're trying to have hot water. You can have the heater right there instead of one bigger unit and a water tank with a solar battery. And yes, there are solar water heaters. I remember they were actually part of building code when I was in Israel. To have them, they work pretty well. Never had an issue with a hot water shower out there, as long as, you know, you weren't hogging the water. Oh yeah, they're totally great, but the problem is, it depends on the climate that you're in. But yeah.
When it's cheapest or most practical, it's tied to, well, keeping the hot water hot. Enter SunAmp's Thermino heat battery. Now, this thing uses phase change materials, basically salt compounds that store 4 times more heat energy than water in the same volume. When you need hot water, cold water flows through, and the phase change material releases its stored heat instantly. Now, the genius part? You can charge it whenever you want, during the day when your solar is cranking, at night when the electricity rates are cheap. The energy storage can be decoupled from when you actually use the hot water. A study from Edinburgh Napier University.
That's interesting. I didn't know that was a thing.
SunAmp as a preheat system saw 36% of their hot water heated entirely by stored solar power. Their backup heating dropped from over 4 kilowatt hours per day down to less than half a kilowatt hour.
Wow.
In my case, this would work even better because I already have preheated water for my desuperheater. The SunAmp would be heating 110 degree Fahrenheit water up to 136 degrees Fahrenheit, not cold 50 degree Fahrenheit city water. Plus, the space savings are huge. A SunAmp Thermino 300 is about 41 inches tall by 14 inches wide and 22 inches deep. And my current Rheem tank is about 62 inches tall and 24 inches around.
That's a lot bigger.
1/3 less floor space. So why didn't I do that? Well, honestly, SunAmp had limited availability in the US when I was in the process of building in 2022 and 2023. I did reach out to them, but we were in a time crunch and making last minute changes would have cost too much money. Now, the real regret isn't the money though. It's that I wish I had known this technology was available and researched it before finalizing my hot water plans.
Fair enough. Man plans, God laughs.
Having thermal storage that charges during midday surplus would maximize my investment. Right now, my excess production goes to the grid.
It's a nice metal roof.
Another thing that I kind of wish I had installed was a full gutter system to collect all my roof's rainwater. Here's the math. With about 45 inches of rainfall per year in Massachusetts and a 2,000 square foot roof, I could potentially harvest over 55,000 gallons of rainwater annually. Even factoring in an 80% capture efficiency, that's still 44,000 gallons. It would be enough to fill a swimming pool and handle most of my outdoor watering needs. And for anyone that's curious about gray water from showers, it gets trickier in my state of Massachusetts because regulations are more restrictive and involve a lot more bureaucracy. You need local Board of Health approval to get started. On top of this, in many jurisdictions, you can't collect gray water if you're connected to a public sewer.
Wait, what?
But rainwater? That's generally legal and encouraged for non-potable outdoor use. No permits required for basic rain barrels. And the cost reality for a medium-sized rainwater system with a 1,000 to 2,500 gallon tank might run around $2,500 to $5,500.
That's not too bad.
A comprehensive system with an underground cistern could hit $8,000.
Yeah, that would require more because you got to excavate.
A medium system might take 10 years to pay back based purely on water bill savings. So is it really worth it? Well, for me, the real regret is simpler. I wish I'd at least installed plumbing rough-ins during construction. That would be things like separate drain lines for future gray water, a pre-positioned...
Yeah, plan for expandability.
And exterior...
It's really no different than when I actually build out my network and stuff like that. I plan for upgradability. Like, am I going to use all the ports that are in the house? No, I barely use most of the ports that are around the house as it is. But they're there. Like, I only need 2 ports here, but I have 4 ports over there. And as you can see, I can plug in 2 different devices, and but you have to plan for expandability. Scale that tech, yeah. Just joined your live. I like what I'm hearing so far. Hey, great to have you. Happy hacking, buddy.
Hose bibs fed by a future cistern. Putting those into place would have cost maybe $1,000 to $2,000 during the build.
Not too bad.
Any future retrofit cheaper and much easier.
Yeah, it's always great to plan for upgradability, and he was building his house from scratch, so he had more flexibility to do a lot of that. The one complaint I would say with his house's design, though, it's just a weird layout. I feel like he could have increased the amount of space there overall. But what do I know?
So the lesson, even if you don't install the full system designed for future expansion. This isn't just about harvesting rainwater, but any potential system that you might think you want down the road. There is one thing about my house that probably frustrates me the most. Before I get to that, there's another piece of tech that doesn't frustrate me at all. And that's today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN.
All right, we're going to skip through that because, VPNs, yada, yada, yada.
And more. But with Surfshark Alternative ID, they also have their use my code offers and I give you for supporting the channel. So back to what frustrates me the most.
Your dog stole your blanket?
This one probably frustrates me.
No, your dog just claimed what was theirs.
HVAC return ductwork. It shares ducts with my heating and cooling system. The problem? To get continuous fresh air, I have to run my HVAC air handler fan at low speed, constant.
I have to do the same thing.
Even when I don't need heating or cooling. If I don't do that, the RV's fan isn't powerful enough to carry the fresh air to certain areas of the house. Now, granted, that's only about 35 watts to run the air handler fan at low speed, but it adds up and puts extra wear and tear on my HVAC system.
I have to do a similar thing in my house, which is why I put ceiling fans in every single room. I like ceiling fans. I need a constant breeze. Even over here, there's a fan blowing on me. That's why you see the beads kind of moving, because I need to have a breeze.
A dedicated ERV system like Zender uses completely separate small diameter ducts. We're talking about 3.5-inch flexible tubes that fit into standard walls. Fresh air gets delivered directly to bedrooms. Stale air gets exhausted from bathrooms and kitchens. The RV runs independently at optimized low speed. Your HVAC system only runs when you need it. Now, in some cases, the energy difference could be substantial. My current setup probably draws 45 to 50 watts continuously to circulate air through the full HVAC ductwork. That's accounting for the ERV fan plus the air handler running at low speed 24/7. A dedicated Zender system might use 20 to 30 watts at low levels for most of the time. That's a savings of maybe $5 a month or $60 a year at Massachusetts electricity rates. It's not huge, but again, less wear and tear on the HVAC system by separating it out. But it's not just about energy use. It's a matter of air quality and by extension, health. With dedicated ductwork, each bedroom gets its own tuned fresh air supply, even if the door's closed. My current system dilutes fresh air throughout the whole house. So what's the cost of a Zender system? Well, it's about $12,000.
Good God!
Maybe $6,000 to $9,000 if you DIY the ductwork. So why didn't I do that? Well, honestly, budget priorities. It just came down to the money. The system I have...
Just get a ceiling fan. Call it a day.
works, but I do wish I'd gone with a more premium ERV setup. Retrofitting now would cost way more than I'd ever want to spend. Now, this is a perfect example of design decisions that are cheap during construction, but expensive to retrofit. That $5,000 to $10,000 extra during my build would have given me a negligible energy gain, but better tuned air quality, quieter operation, and less wear and tear on my HVAC system. I have 2 span panels in my house, and I have no regrets there. They're exactly what I needed for my solar and geothermal setup with all the fixins. Circuit level energy monitoring, remote control, solar and battery integration, and all of it tied into Home Assistant. I absolutely love it.
That is kind of nice.
This costs about $13,000 to $18,000.
Yeah.
Professionally installed. For someone with an existing home and working electrical panel who just wants energy monitoring and more sophisticated energy control, that's a tough sell.
Yeah, unless you're upgrading your service.
This is a Massachusetts company that's actually based in Pittsfield, making smart circuit breakers that drop directly into your existing panel.
Oh.
It's the same form factor as your current breakers. You can swap them in one at a time. Each one monitors energy usage for that specific circuit in real time and gives you some great smart control. The approach is completely different from what I have. Span requires replacing your entire panel. It's all or nothing. Noble Carbon lets you start with 3 or 4 critical circuits for about $500, allowing you to add more over time as you need.
I mean, $500 is still kind of expensive when your typical breaker is maybe like $10, $15. But still, or maybe even $10 and $15 is kind of expensive for a breaker. But still, I have been thinking about how I could do smart switches and all of that stuff. But yeah, the service panels are really expensive when you think about it. And I'm on a 200 amp service right now. And I've close to maxed it out right now where I have to consider moving things around. I'm not going to upgrade the service in this house, but the next house I have, I'm definitely going to go larger than 200 amp.
Put it this way, your HVAC, water heater, EV charger, and dryer probably account for 70% of your electricity use. Monitor those 4 circuits and you've got most of the picture for a fraction of the cost. If you have a 100 amp service and you want to install an EV charger without the need for an expensive 200 amp service upgrade, this type of product is your answer. You can prioritize the circuits so you'll never go past your amp limit. Span is phenomenal if you're building new or already need a panel replacement. But for retrofits, Noble Carbon represents an exciting alternative that grows with you.
That actually answers the question I've been having, because I was actually going to replace the electric water heater I have with natural gas to reclaim the 30 amp circuit that is over there being used to be used for an EV outlet for when I switch to an EV, which may be in a year or 2, depending on how things go. But yeah.
Different tools for different situations. My house was built by Unity Homes with thick, insulated wall panels, R35 walls with minimal thermal bridging. They offer something similar for roof panels, but my wife and I opted out the same. It was the same for the basement, which was a slab on grade. That saved me maybe $35,000 to $80,000 combined. Now here's what it cost me. Without a basement or conditioned attic space, all my mechanical equipment, electrical panels, HVAC ductwork, and everything else competes for first floor space.
Yeah, that's one thing where I would say I would need a basement, or at least designated utility rooms that don't factor into the living spaces. Because, like, it's nice I have a utility room where my laundry and everything goes in, and then you have my rack, and there's another bathroom, then you have my area down here. It adds a lot more usable space to be able to live in. And then you can always, feng shui and move that things. Yeah, I need a basement. The only places I could accept the argument for not having a basement are the ones near the ocean because of the obvious reasons. But, and the second floor ideally, too. I don't do the ranch style, I mean, nothing against it, really. It's just I like having, if you build vertically, whether you're talking below with a basement or above, you have more usable space. But also what I would do with the basement is I would have like a sub-basement. Because there's something about, like, I remember, there was something I read, like, you can use it for better, like, potential flood control or whatever. But, yeah, there's more into that. But, yeah. And maybe I can make my nuclear shelter below the basement. So there's really another basement. Or, yeah, Bat Cave. That's a better way to call it. Bat Cave.
Basically everything inside the thermal envelope. Duct runs had to go through interior walls or soffits. A full basement would have given me a massive dedicated mechanical room. It would be 8 feet tall with a full footprint access.
Not to mention it would be a lot more efficient to do those runs, because then you could just run them across the joist that you need to do, rather than this mishmash of up, over, and through walls. And then if you ever need to service that, now you can go down to the basement and most of the area is exposed for servicing, as to opposed, you're now going to have to hammer through walls. That's no fun.
All my equipment's centralized, noise isolation from living spaces,
make an eel pit,
stability from ground buffering. The HVAC distribution would have been more simplified too. The ductwork runs could have gone under the first floor joists, straight shots to every room.
What'd I just say?
Accessible for future modifications. During
my previous electrician life comes back. I used to be an electrician early on in my career, for those of you that don't know. And there's just a lot of habits and things I picked up from the skilled trades that you're just like, no, this makes sense. And no hate to him whatsoever. I can see where he was thinking with it. But there's a different mindset between somebody that has more of an engineering and tinkering mindset versus someone that actually is hands-on, has picked up a hammer, and knows how to actually connect the different systems and everything. So I may not have done HVAC that much directly, but I worked alongside enough HVAC people to have been able to ask them questions about how and why they do different things.
Build that $40,000 to $60,000 in savings was significant. It made the project affordable and allowed us to put money towards other priorities. But after living here for 2 years, I'm seeing how that basement or attic space would make it easier to make some of those tweaks to the house that I'd like to do. If I were building again with my current knowledge, I'd choose either insulated roof panels or a full basement.
Full basement. I'd go full basement. Because once the basement's built, or not built, that's it. You can't really do much with it. Whereas insulated roof, you can always revisit that later if you wanted to.
Having neither means all my infrastructure competes for the space within the conditioned living area. It works, it just makes it more challenging to adapt the house over time. This is what I really wish I'd done differently. I went all in on N-phase microinverters and batteries for my 17.2 kilowatt roof array.
Damn, that's so nice.
But they locked me into a 100% grid-tied system with limited expansion options. The real regret? Not choosing a battery system designed for hybrid flexibility from the start. Franklin's whole home battery system, specifically the A-Power S, would have changed everything. The Franklin A-Gate sits between your main panel and utility meter. It would see all the different power flows, like if you have roof solar or ground solar, batteries, the grid, and the house loads. It manages everything intelligently. The A-Power S has built-in hybrid inverters.
Okay.
That means you can connect a ground-mounted solar array directly to the battery, no separate inverter needed.
Huh.
It's DC coupled for maximum efficiency. So here's the key. Franklin's system is AC coupled and works with any inverter, including N-phase.
Huh.
So if I installed a ground-mounted array in my backyard as a second system, both my solar arrays would charge the batteries. My roof array feeds Franklin through AC coupling, the ground array would feed through DC coupling. Both charge the same battery bank, both can power the house.
That's good to know.
What happened to the excess energy? In this theoretical system where I'd have a ground array and a roof array, my roof array stays grid tied and participates in the net metering. When it produces more than the house and batteries need, excess flows to the grid just as normal. That's the system the utility approved. But the ground array, it's DC coupled directly to the A-Power S. It never touches the grid. When the batteries are full and the house load is satisfied, the system simply curtails the ground array. It stops producing. This means I could add 10 kilowatts of ground-mounted panels in my backyard, or 20, or 50. The utility wouldn't care because that isn't grid connected. That would eliminate so many headaches all at once. No approval process, no engineering studies, no fees, no caps on system size. So both
now that is something good to have learned.
But only the roof array can export, and only the ground array can expand without permission. The Franklin A-Power S launched in 2024, so it didn't exist when I built my house in 2022. So this isn't really a regret about a decision I made, it's about the timing and technology availability. But here's what I could have controlled. I should have pre-run conduit from my house to the back of my property during construction using a 2-inch PVC pipe buried in the ground. Maybe 100 feet. That would have cost, what, $500, $600 when the trenches were already open for other utilities?
So this is actually some great advice here, because he's talking about, pre-trenching for expansion, and that's something I've actually talked about quite a bit. And if you're building a house, I actually would tell people, like, where your running wire is, just have PVC piping there as well. Because eventually, you'll want to have, like, a duct work of, like, how you can feed everything into your telecommunications panel. But eventually, Cat 6A may need to be replaced. Maybe we're going to go full fiber optic one day or whatnot. Or maybe you're just going to run extra lines. If you can actually mark different PVC tubes to know, like, this PVC tube goes to living room, then all you have to do is just ram it up there. But the same could be said with, trenching for expandability like he's talking about. Because that's actually something I've been looking at for some things I was, wanting to do, because I wanted to run power potentially out to my new shed. But then I'm like, I would have to trench that, I'd have to connect that to the system and everything. And I eventually, let that idea go. And I said, I'm just going to get some solar powered lights eventually when I do that. But a trench would have allowed me to do some fun things. Like, I could have easily, run a PoE cable and then had a camera set up there and do whatever else I need to do. But yeah, it's always best to consider not only what you need right now, but what you may need in the future. Build for the mindset of 1 year, 2 year, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year. Build in that mindset. And by the way, your electrical systems need maintenance about every 10 years, so people don't think about that. Maintenance just means going around checking things, tightening screws and all that. But yeah.
The lesson is simple. Even if the technology doesn't exist yet, stub the infrastructure, run the conduit, leave the pathways open. The hardware will catch up, and when it does, you'll be ready. The biggest lesson across all these regrets comes down to kind of one thing: pathways. The only way to truly future-proof a home is to pull conduit to certain parts of the home.
What'd I just say? What'd I just say?
That way, if new technology comes out in 3 to 5 years, you're safe from FOMO. I wish I'd run 2-inch conduit from the mechanical room to key locations around the house, as well as exterior conduit to eaves, front door, driveway, backyard. For my video doorbell, I'm dealing with transformer wiring and Wi-Fi. With a single Cat 6A cable from my network closet, I would have power over Ethernet plus gigabit data.
Literally the example I just gave. PoE, running it through, all that, yada, yada, yada.
I'd be able to relish in the reliable power, faster video streaming, and easier troubleshooting. PoE now supports up to 100 watts.
Yes, it does.
Cameras, Wi-Fi access points, smart displays, even LED lighting, all from central switches with UPS backup. The cost for a comprehensive conduit network during construction.
Okay, that's a metal pipe with pipe bending and all that. Don't get me wrong. I love me a good metal conduit and it's perfectly lined up like this. This is art. This is art. This is all right. This is all right here. But this is art. But never put your telco lines in metal conduit. Always avoid using metal conduit for your telco lines when possible and use PVC instead. But yeah, this is nice. MC, yeah. I'm a big fan of MC conduit, but a lot of homes don't do that for some reason. Well, it's money, it's more expensive, and it's not even required for code. So you may, well, it is for, kind of for 220, but the box, and then it has to go 6 feet up and then just to the rafters. So this isn't even required in residential homes for the most part. It's because normally what you can do is you can throw some, was it 12.2 Romex, 14.2 Romex, and then just slide that down. Conduit bending tools are cool. Yeah. I used to do pipe bending as part of my electrician years, so I'm a little bit rusty at it, but you give me a pipe bender, I could probably get back into it with my math. But yeah, I love, that's one thing when I, have the opportunity one day to have my own house built. I'm doing metal conduit, and I'm going to be doing PVC piping for telco wherever possible. Oh, and that's nice. I just noticed that. They did metal conduit even to that bulb over there. That's a good job. I like that. You got copper pipes too. I like that. I know it's like an image he's just using, but still. Wait, no, that I think is his house when it was framed in.
Maybe $1,500 to $3,000? Maybe. The retrofit cost for the same could be 2 to 3 times that.
Does anyone even still do building inspections? Yeah. It's a requirement for new builds. For selling a house, maybe not necessarily, but it's becoming a thing again. You love your copper pipes. Yeah, I got a mix of them. Unfortunately, copper's expensive, and I don't have all the tools to solder a pipe.
Plus all the ripping into the finished walls. No thank you. Future-proofing doesn't mean that you have to pick the right technology ahead of time, every time. It's more about creating pathways for technologies that don't exist yet. Conduit is the cheapest insurance policy you'll ever buy. Looking back at my regrets, you can probably start to see a pattern. Some technologies like the SunAmp heat battery or Franklin's split solar system simply didn't exist or weren't available when I built, or I just wasn't aware of them. That's not really a regret, it's just bad timing. But the infrastructure,
it happens.
The conduit I didn't run, the basement or insulated roof I skipped, the network placement I didn't think through. Those were all knowable at the time. I just wasn't thinking holistically about how some of the systems would interact. If you're building a net zero home or even just renovating, think about heat flows, think about pathways, think about where equipment will live not just today, but 10 years from now.
And this is one thing I will definitely hammer home from an IT and cybersecurity point of view, thinking holistically. My years as an MSP got me thinking about that. Oh, you're building that building. What about in next year, 5 years, 10 years? What are you going to be doing? How are you going to be expanding it? This is where you need to get your brain on as well. Like when you're dealing with the client or you're dealing with a company, it's like, okay, this solution will work for you right now, but what do you do in the next few months, the next few years, or all of that? You got to get them figured out. Thinking ahead of time and sometimes investing a little bit of money ahead of time to future-proof things will save you a lot of money and headaches down the road. Oh, that's why I like this guy. He's great with how honest he is. And, but I'm not going to fault him at all. This is a great thing he did. His house is a great project. This is just the difference between somebody that, has done project-based work when it comes to, actual hardware. Being like, I've actually had to oversee construction projects where I've had to know where the telco is, read the wiring diagrams to know where the electrical is, and then go to the electrician and say, we're going to need this run here with a different circuit, but that's going to need to run this way, and then even plan out the wires for the telco to go perpendicular and everything. That's years of experience, and a lot of that knowledge isn't just, I had electrician classes and everything. A lot of that is things you learn while doing the job. That it's not like things that you really can just be taught in a classroom. It's things you pick up. And he's learning a lot of this stuff because he's gone through it. And that's usually what happens when you go through your first few projects, especially when you're apprenticing for things, because you're still new and you're getting to learn the process of how to optimize everything out. Holistically is my keyword at work. Yeah. And that's how we need to look at things in cybersecurity, is the holistic view of things. And that's why I tell people, some of the best cybersecurity people at least know conceptually all the different parts of what goes on in the entire stack. Too many people are focused on, I want to go straight into cybersecurity. And I'm like, well, cybersecurity isn't really entry level per se, but that point aside, you need to know everything else that's going on, at least at a conceptual level. Okay, you're not a programmer or not a coder, but you still have to understand what CI/CD is and how, secrets management and other things and secure coding practices come into play. You may not be, into identity access management, but you still got to understand those things and know the difference between SAML and OIDC, as well as, federated identities when you're talking about on-prem and off, in the cloud. There's, all those different things. You also have to understand the concepts of when you're doing threat hunting and a lot of other, concepts that go together. Because if you just focus in on, I just want to go into cybersecurity, you're going to miss the whole view there. Think about like a horse that has blinders on. You're missing the entire periphery of what's going on. I'm not saying you have to be an expert in everything. You just got to understand what the other parts of the business are doing. So, yeah.
Your future self will thank you. But what do you think? Do you have similar regrets? Would you do it differently? Jump in the comments and let me know. You can also check out the extended cuts of my videos over on Patreon. And speaking of that, these videos take a team to make, a team of humans. Real research, real interviews, real feedback from experts. No AI slop. If that matters to you, Patreon.
Pandering to the identity architect in chat.
Plus member Kate. The link's in the description if you'd like to join. But honestly, just watching like you are is also awesome. So thank you.
All right, so, yeah. All right, we got some other short videos here that Vampire shared.
We at Xbox are happy to announce that we are in talks to combine Xbox Game Pass with Netflix for one affordable...
Oh, I heard about this shit.
Wait, what? Xbox is joining Netflix? This is crazy! Yes, we will support tiers of no ad plans as well as ad-supported plans for those who wish to subscribe. Ad-supported plans? Are we really bringing ads to gaming? How is that even going to work?
Hold up, shit,
Similar
what?
to Netflix.
What? Is this actually a thing? You out-nerded your principal today. It was a great day. Yeah. But is this really a thing right here? That Netflix is looking to bring ads into gaming, or Microsoft is putting ads in gaming, or combination of the two?
We will run 4 to 5 minutes of ads for every hour during gameplay on Xbox Game Pass.
Wait.
Whoa,
That's happening? Why do you all want to stay with Microsoft? At a certain point, people are going to have to understand they're a monopoly. If you don't like their practices, you're going to have to accept it and actively move towards alternatives. And for all the gamers out there, well, my game just is not supported. It's like, well, guess what? You're allowing Microsoft to shitify the entire game environment and the game ecosystem. Which is worse? Oh, your one game can't work, or in the future, we all basically can't even own our computers and our consoles, and we're paying subscriptions for every game that we play, and then suddenly it's like, hey, join this lobby in COD. I can't. I'm in the middle of a 10-minute unskippable ad right now. I'll have to join you in the next round. Think about that for a second. The only way to actively fight this is to actively embrace what is really your only alternative and looking at gaming on Linux. And look, I do gaming on Linux. We're going to be doing it once a week. I'm in the middle right now of getting my Morrowind mods all staged for, Elder Scrolls 3 to replay that. We're going to play Claire Obscure's Expedition 33. We're going to continue playing that. We've been playing that. We haven't had any performance issues or stuff with it. I've played Red Dead Redemption and many other games. If your argument is there's this one game that I really like, and that's the reason why you want to allow these big game studios, and even by extension Microsoft, to shitify the entire game ecosystem, I want you to think about what gaming could look like in a few years if you don't at least stand up and fight. Why do you play old games offline? Why do you think I play old games offline and PS2 games? If my computer chip was actually powerful enough, I would have played some Xbox 360 games. Do they have Xbox 360 emulators? I'm curious about that. But like the original Xbox had some of my favorite games. I mean, Halo, the original Halo, we got the PC version. Cool. But there's a couple of games like Kingdom Under Fire. Great real-time strategy game. Love that game. Wish they'd have a sequel to it. Well, that actually was worth it. They had one sequel, and then they did a whole Kingdom Under Fire, which just became a hack-and-slash game that I didn't really care for. But, yeah, that's the honest truth. Mac OS is looking like a better option too. I'm not saying Mac OS is perfect, but holy crap. Well, Mac OS is not great for gaming because of that Metal API crap that they have. They actively are one of the worst platforms to dev for, because here's the problem. If you make a game on Windows or Linux, here's what basically happens. You have the source code, you compile it for Windows, and then maybe you make a virtual machine of Linux, and then you can compile the game again natively in Linux if you're not relying on Proton's compatibility layer to do it, which at that point, you can just ship the Windows version and call it a day. But if you want to make a Mac-specific version, you have to have a Mac-specific device. So you need to have a whole other computer. Then you need to get Xcode. You also need to pay their like Apple developer license fee if they're still doing that. I think last I checked it was like $70 or something like that. I digress. Do all of that, and then you can make a Mac application officially. There's a lot that goes into it. And even at that point, developing for Mac specifically is a lot different than if you were just even, say, developing for your regular 3D rendering and stuff because of the ways they hook into it. It is what it is. Mac used to be the gaming machine I would recommend to people all the time, but that was during the PowerPC G3 to G5 era. Once they switched to Intel and stopped supporting NVIDIA GPUs, they kind of went downhill. They supported ATI/AMD for a long while, but NVIDIA was the better GPU for a long time, and still kind of is, unfortunately. But yeah. Passover joke in the title. Yeah. Can't decide between Fedora and Catchy OS. Help me. Also between KDE and GNOME. I can't help you there. That's down to you learning what you want to have. I'm on Pop OS over here. I'm still on Pop OS 2204 using GNOME. And I'm going to move to Pop OS 2604 with Cosmic in a couple of months. But that's because that seems to cater more to me. What will work for you may not necessarily be the thing I'm going to recommend. Excellent Chef sent a super chat. I've already switched over to Linux, and I initially started on Linux Mint when I switched over from Windows. Nice. How's that been working for you? What are we talking about? A bunch of random stuff.
Can't believe it's happening for real. We're actually going to start seeing ads while playing video games. That's right, and you won't own the video games or TV shows and movies on Netflix either. You know our billionaire corporate saying, you will
own nothing and be happy.
Well, whatever. I'll just buy my games to own on the Steam Spring Sale instead. Wait, what? I'm not signing up for any ad-supported subscription to play video games. This is why Steam is the best.
Yup. I still would rather give Steam my money. Yeah, technically you don't own the game either, but still. Alright, my friend, what should I call you? I go by Chief Geeked or Chief Geek 3D. Some people just call me Chief. Alright, let's see what's this. What's this video? Got a squirrel? Ah, squirrels are kind of cute when they're not, you know, running at you rabbit and shit. I'm on Zorn, but in the future, if I get a good PC, I'm going to go to a gaming, so I can use full control. Let's see, how long is this video here before, we call it a night? May save this video for next time, because it is getting a little bit late here, and I do have work tomorrow. There is not going to be a stream tomorrow because it's the first night of Passover, so I'm going to be with family. Thus, why there was the Passover joke in the title that somebody finally picked up on. Does nobody just call you geek? No. Usually just call me chief. Yeah, so we will be... The next official day for my streaming is Sunday, which will be when we do gaming on Linux. I'm thinking we're going to do Expedition 33, and because I still need to finish that game and figure it out. And then we're going to see about me streaming maybe on Friday and or Saturday night, depending on how I feel, to catch up on some more of this content over here. But yeah, so anyway, thank you all for joining me. If you haven't already, join my Discord and Matrix server. The links are in the bio for that and all of my socials, the YouTube, the TikTok, the Twitch, the Kick, the Instagram, the, I feel like I'm missing one. I'm on a bunch of platforms, okay? The link's in bio. Okay? And if they're not in chat. So, join that. See you all in the Discord and the Matrix servers. Otherwise, y'all have a good Passover, Easter, whatever the hell y'all are celebrating. Just enjoy your time. But, yeah. See you later. Stay safe. Happy hacking. If you're on Twitch, stick around for the raid. And I will see you next time.